Welcome back to Questing Beast. I'm Ben. Today we're taking a look at Summer's End and other one-page adventures. This is a zine that I recently released, along with a number of other zines for my NABE 2nd edition Kickstarter. As usual, links to where you can pick it up are in the description below in PDF or in print form, along with Maze Rats, which now has this awesome cover by the same illustrator, DC Stowe. We have The Waking of Willoughby Hall, which Mike Mearls called a masterpiece of modern TTRPG design, and one of the best gaming experiences of his life. I'm completely serious, he said that. We also have NABE 2nd edition, which is out now, either in its deluxe form right here, if you want the cloth cover, or in its standard version, if you want that sweet Peter Mullen artwork. So what is in Summer's End? This is 12 one-page adventures. 6 of them are hexes to be dropped into a hex crawl if you want hexes that have more density of things going on in them to explore. And the other 6 adventures are dungeons for your players to delve into. Here is our whole cover right here. It's wrapping all the way around. I really love how this cover and the cover of Maze Rats actually feature the exact same characters. And these characters were randomly generated using the rules in Maze Rats, which I think is really fun. Now, originally, most of the adventures in here were published as Patreon exclusives some years ago, but they have been spruced up, they have been redrawn, redesigned in order to look a lot better and to fit better in this format. There is some minimal stats included in here for the monsters, and they are for NABE 2nd edition. However, since NABE is compatible with pretty much every OSR system, any OSR game that you happen to have will work just fine with this. Each of the adventures looks like this. We have a picture in the middle, either of the adventure hex or of the dungeon. We have information around it with arrows pointing directly to it. This makes things much easier to reference, so you know exactly where everything is and what is going on with it. The 6-mile hex is often regarded as the kind of standard for hex crawling, although people differ on that point. But my point in making 6 of these adventure hexes here is to show that, 6 miles across is actually a lot of space. There is a ton of adventure that you can pack into a 6-mile hex, and I'm trying to show you ways that you could do that in a number of different biomes and with different themes. For example, this one here is a mountain. It's also a bit of a point crawl. You can move from point to point around the map here following these trails, or I guess you could go off trail if you want to. There are factions here that all want different things and are in conflict with each other. The verticality is used because if you go up high enough, you can get a magic horn, and when you blow it, it causes avalanches. Avalanches that swamp or drench in snow one slice of the mountain. So being high up can cause you to affect things that are lower down. There's a little bit of a story background that you can unravel, or you can just ignore that, plunge right in, try and wipe out all the bandits, and fight the summer worm. In most of these adventure hexes, there is several different things going on, and the way that they interact with each other and the way that the players poke and prod at them is going to cause very different end results each time that you play it. So for example, there's a village down here that's in conflict with the soldiers in this fortress. The soldiers here are upset because all of their swords have gone missing because they have been stolen by a group of sentient swords that has turned into a hive mind like a giant sword spider and is awakening other swords and adding it to its biomass. Well, not really biomass, but you get the idea. There's a giant skeleton down here in these cairns that is merging with a slime to some horrifying effects. There's a lily queen in the middle of the pond who wants to distribute swords to potential high kings. Lots of different people and events that can interact with each other and cause chaos. The Raiders of Wolfsea is all about piracy. If you have your own pirate ship, you can head to this little archipelago and go on a treasure hunt. Compete with a bunch of enemies like the Wolfsea Plunder Cooperative, Abadar the Ever-Seeing, and the Captain Octavimus. In the sands of Kaldemar, your main foe is the city of Is, this giant mobile city on skids that's being dragged across the desert by a crawling giant. The Witches of Willowmire includes 6 feuding witches who all despise each other and will give you missions to mess with each other. It has a swamp crawling with aquatic zombies, hundreds of them at a time, but as long as you stay on the surface of the swamp, they won't be able to reach you because they walk around on the bottom. Usually, you gotta watch out for them. And there's a predatory heron the size of a giraffe. Wizards of Sparrowkeep is one of my favorites of the adventure hexes because you have the town of Sparrowkeep right here, but it's surrounded by a number of wizard towers, which would be a problem in itself. But these wizards have all somehow fallen in love with the local village witch, and they are all now competing with each other for her affections, which is an absolute disaster for the local peasants. The players can try and unravel what's really going on here, or they can just mess with the wizards and use their feuding to their own advantage. Next, we have our 6 dungeons. The first one is the Alchemist Repose. Many people who have followed this channel have probably seen this before. I released it as a one-page dungeon a while back. Thought I would put it in here so it's in a print form where people can pick it up. We also have Drums in the Deep, where you are delving into a sewer, where there's a weird cult, there's sewer monsters, all sorts of classic tropes. We also have Lair of the Keymaster, which some of my patrons have told me is their favorite of these dungeons. It should be really fun if you enjoy a good puzzle dungeon. This is the tomb of a master locksmith who has hidden a lot of dangers and a lot of treasures around his tomb, which you can unlock if you find out its one weird trick and find all of the keys. The Hollow Prince, probably the largest of the dungeons. Great if you want a kind of cleric-themed adventure where you're infiltrating an evil underground cult that have imprisoned an angel. The Witch and the Wolf is a bit of a fairy tale-ish kind of Hansel and Gretel style adventure. Some of your monsters include things like giant gummy worms, taffy crawlers, the Skull Breaker, a lot of candy-themed stuff right here. You have a giant talking fox, you have a witch flying around a cavern over here, a massive gingerbread golem who is not happy about his situation. Now, the last one, The King's Thirst, is all about investigating a dungeon that has already been discovered by a bunch of other parties. So you'll be competing with other people to try and find its secrets, get out its treasure, and hopefully not awaken the evil vampire lord at the bottom of it. Well, that's my flip through of Summer's End. Hopefully you found a couple of adventures in there that looked intriguing to you. If so, go check it out using the links in the description below, where I will point to where you can get it in PDF or in print form at the Swordfish Islands web store. Thanks for watching, everyone, and make sure to check out Knave 2nd Edition, also available now. I'll see you next time.